Welcome everyone to the Elephants on Business podcast, improving your small business journey one episode at a time. And today's episode, we're going to take a breath back and look at our own business and give you an insight onto what we're working here at Elephant Advisory. Welcome, Oz.
It's good to be back.
Now, Oz, obviously a small business we run here in Melbourne, Victoria, a million things that we're trying to work on. Sometimes lots of failures, sometimes some good successes. Today, we're going to talk about the three major things I think we're working on as a business.
Yep.
And in summary, before we kick into it, it's about our movement to doing marketing ourselves in-house. A key thing we're working on is position descriptions for everyone in the business and really tightening that up. And finally, my favorite thing is just improving our processes.
Yep, that's right. And anytime there's big changes like this in a small business, there is like a teething sort of process, and it's quite stressful at the start. It might take you a couple of months to get things in order, and then obviously while you're doing this, you got to keep in mind you're still trying to run a business and deliver on work and do all those other things that you are doing as a business owner.
And that's the most important thing to think about. The three things that we mentioned here today are on top of our day-to-day client work, keeping up with our industry, our professional development, running a team. So we really wanted to focus on the things outside of our skill set and talk to you about it, because we're not marketers. I've never written a position description properly before, and we're learning about that. And process improvement is just a never-ending learning journey.
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll dive into the first one. So marketing. So I can talk a bit about that. As a small business, we had 7 years ago when we started the business, 6 years ago, we started the business. We called it Elephant. Quirky name. I thought I was ahead of the curve and going, no, it's a bit quirky name, But, as the business grew and more work came in, we probably left marketing behind. We had good word of mouth. It was growing. A mortgage broking and now accounting business generally wins on word of mouth.
Yeah.
But about a year ago, we made a decision to try and elevate ourselves from small to medium. So that's the journey we're on. And we really wanted to focus on marketing.
And why we did that was obviously just to, generate more clients that come through the door, which obviously helps with the revenue, and we can, obviously increase the business size a little bit there. So
it's very important to know, and I think one of the episodes we'll do, the next couple of ones, is about how we tackle marketing, but it's important to decide why we're doing marketing, and it's no line. We're doing marketing for a revenue generating activity. We want to get our business out there. We want to have more people see us, get to know us earlier, and maybe build a future client base out there that comes to us one day.
Correct.
So how are we doing this, Oz?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we're doing. Obviously, we've obviously have the internal onshore hire in Australia. So we've got a marketing guy, Ned, which hopefully he'll be on a podcast soon. So he's pretty much
the go-to guy in our business
of marketing in that section. So he's obviously helping us with the blogs, the podcast, the YouTube editing, the SEO, the website updates, the social media, the EDM. So when reflecting back on myself and my journey in marketing, at the start, we didn't really have any of this.
Yep.
And,
same at the start.
You don't know how big of a task it actually is when you start, opening up these different avenues in the marketing world, and it is a massive task. So we've got obviously that onshore hire, and then we've got hopefully some offshore as well that's going to come into place as well.
Absolutely. So Ned's role has been really to do the doing. Everyone has ideas. As a small business owner, you want to do blogs. You might do 2 and then it gets tiring and you just don't have time.
Yeah.
Or you, to be honest, maybe you're a bit ambitious and I'm going to fix this, and then you don't see the results because marketing's a long journey and you stop. Ned's kind of mandate is to do, release the blogs, edit this, help set us up, teach us who are not marketing people how we do social media a bit better, and then obviously keep us accountable.
Yeah, the big thing there is the accountability. Sometimes because we're so busy and we've got obviously our day-to-day delivery of tasks and client work and etc. Him coming back to us and just going, Oz, you need to actually
do this,
segregate some time, or he books something in my calendar to do some research or review this work. So he does keep us very accountable to continue this marketing journey. And as he said, sometimes you do start off on this marketing journey, 2-3 months goes by, you might not really see huge results, and you can easily give up
Stop.
on, you know.
And that's kind of been my journey. You know, I think a lot of business owners go through the wave of, I'm going to do Instagram. Oh no, I'm going to do some social media. Oh no, I'm going to improve my website. And you do ad hoc. So it was a big decision from a cost point of view. Like bringing marketing in-house is risky because we're not marketers. Oz and I have done marketing. We know what maybe we want, or I know what I kind of want. But Ned's been fantastic in just helping take what's in our brain out and put it into an action. And he's constantly improving and increasing the content creation, the value of the content, the quality. So that's been great. And as Oz mentioned, you know, offshore, we have an offshore team that we use for accounting and finance, and we're starting to maybe open our eyes to marketing. So we have a lovely chap named Pradeep, who's overseas in Sri Lanka, who does our SEO, which has been really interesting, having his insight, helping us learn as well, which has been fantastic. And potentially soon we might get another kind of junior copywriter to help Ned. So Ned can step into more kind of creative control and creative work. So that's been a big shift. You know, I've never realized the amount of work that goes into it.
There's all these different avenues of marketing, and they all need its own sort of process and its own idea map. And you really need to know what you're doing in each section. And, you know, when you come with basically zero knowledge or like 1 out of 10 knowledge, you know, there's a lot to learn as well for us. And obviously, you know, hiring people sort of accelerates that journey as a business owner. You can lean on, you know, people that have studied this or have done it before as a profession to just
have the
sort of
time
accelerate
to
a little
do
bit.
that additional research and the time to keep you, like, I think the time frame is the next big thing with marketing.
Yes,
but the time to do these kind of activities well is a lot. And to be honest, some business owners out there are very natural at it. They can pick up their phone, you know, they can snap a photo and they can post on social media. It's just part of their DNA, where for me, it's definitely not. Like sitting in front of the camera right now for Oz and I can tell you, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, we're very nervous. Always you know,
setting up the camera. I feel stressed when the beep goes on. No joke. It's just like, oh no, someone's looking at me. So when it's not in your nature, having someone there to kind of guide you as a sense check to say, don't worry about it, just keep going, has been like just really, really positive, because it's not, I don't know about you guys, it's not in my nature to snap myself on Instagram.
That's the same as me, you know, like like I'm probably a very private person, you know, like don't really
You're introverted. I'm introverted.
Do too much on the social media side. So it's not in my DNA to go out there and do a lot of these things. But I guess, as you were alluding to before, you know, like we do have a time frame set on all this stuff, and you know, we don't want to just try and do it for a couple of months and give up on it. So we've got that long-term horizon.
And I think what I've learned with this is you just, like, we see obviously stats and we're trying to track things like Google search performance and all these new things we're learning, and they move in the right direction, but it's a long journey. So having a 2, 3, even 4 year horizon when you're starting in business and it's only year 1, you're like, 4 years, man, I haven't even been in business. Now 4 or 3 years in my head just is like, that'll go quick. That'll go very, very quick.
And it does have that natural sort of, you know, the chart does go up a couple of steps and then might go down a couple of steps. So it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And sometimes on those steps back, you're like, is this all even worth it at times? You know, you start questioning the whole process. And
I log into, you know, Spotify and YouTube, and I'm like, oh, geez, the views are that. And okay, you can get very disheartened because it is energy you're putting into things like this. So, you know, if I talk about how I feel about it, I feel excited because I think we have a great business. I think marketing is just an important aspect, and we've never done it. We've done it, but we've never done it well, and I think we're doing it well. It's tiring.
It's very tiring.
It's very tiring because when you're a numbers person or you like to sit in Excel and you're very comfortable doing your job, stepping outside your box is like a wave of information, a wave of, you know, in your head, you're just constantly being negative. So I found it tiring, but I think I'm now, after doing it for, I don't know, maybe we're up to 20 episodes on the podcast, 25. I'm getting into more of a rhythm where it's not painful. It's not enjoyable. It's difficult still, but I'm learning to enjoy the process.
And hopefully as time goes on, we will get into that enjoyment phase, and that's when you can just continue that natural forever, right? So like you'll be very consistent at it, and then because you are enjoying it, it's just
how
going to
about you,
hopefully
Oz?
be
You
easy.
feeling like, how are you feeling about it all?
You know, like I said before, like, you know, coming into this, like with, you know, like 1 out of 10 sort of knowledge in the whole marketing world, you know, there's a lot to learn there. So it's quite daunting to learn it all at the start. And I haven't even really learnt much, to be honest. It's like probably going from 1 to 1.5 or 2, you know. So like, you know, there's a massive journey there, and you know, that's part of being a small business owner. It's that development that you enjoy. So, you know, learning these new skills and developing on this end has been enjoyable at times as well. So, you know, we can't always talk about the negatives and saying, oh yeah, it's
spot on.
You know, it's tough, but you know, like learning is also
do,
very enjoyable. And when you see the rewards and the charts going up, it's quite a great feeling too.
Absolutely. And then you completely forget that when I have a client randomly saying, I saw this video and I just went, how?
Yeah.
How did you see that? Or they say, oh, I really picked up this. I'm like, that's 14 minutes into a 20-minute YouTube video.
That means you
watched the 14 minutes, and it boggles my mind that you want to listen to me? What the hell?
Yeah.
So it is really exciting. So that's kind of the main one that we're working on here at Elephant. The next one, Oz, which is, I think, been a real...
This has been also a bit of a change, right?
Yeah, it's a big one for us, right? So obviously, you know, we were technically kind of 2 small businesses, a finance business and an accounting business. In the business here in Australia, we keep it very lean in Australia. So there's only 5 core staff in Australia, and we have a team of nearly 15 offshore. But as you kind of grow and grow and grow, you forget that, geez, all of us, I feel like we're running a small business hat. Every single one of us in the kind of partnership group were looking at the finances, worrying about sales, worrying about marketing. We're all worrying about the same things. That it came to a point where we're like, I think we need to split up tasks.
Yeah, and it's very easy to fall into those that position as business owners. All of us have been, you know, trying to run a business, and then obviously when you merge together, you are on. You still got that small business mindset on, which is, you know, everything's my problem. I need to deal with all these issues. You know, are we not getting enough sales? Do we need to improve the delivery side of things? You know, do we need to improve the website? And you start stressing about all these things. When are we hiring? HR? And
exactly right.
Sometimes a bit daunting, because then now you've got 3 other people to be mindful of as, you know, business owners as well. So it's like, what are you actually thinking about? What am I thinking about? Everyone's thinking about the same thing. It can be very stressful. So I think that, separation has been really good. It's just one of those things where, like I said before, it does take some time. You know, there's that teething process. You know, it takes maybe a couple of months, or, you know, maybe 6 months to actually get into your position well. So we have done that segregation, and maybe we'll talk about some of the segregation that we've done.
Oz mentioned there is a point that I had to accept that the business was a bit too complex for me to handle in my head alone. Like,
you can't do it anymore.
In a minute, I was thinking about 2 different problems, and I was trying to correlate them when they shouldn't be, because I was stressed. And so what we're trying to do is we kind of assessed every single person's strengths, what they like to work on, and then said, well, in one big sweep, we're going to just change roles.
Yep.
So my role, instead of looking at everything and Oz looking at everything, Oz in my role turned to marketing and sales and new clients. That's kind of where we sat. To do that, Sam and Gav had to take on more of the client work.
Yeah.
And so that's been such a big shift, because for Sam and Gav, who are used to hearing about new clients, they kind of felt a bit disconnected.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they are really empowered, because 15 staff went directly to work for them.
Yeah.
So they essentially, I kind of say, Sam and Gav run the business.
Yeah.
They run all the businesses. They now do the finance, the profit and loss, the budgeting, the delivery of the finances, the delivery of accounting. And Oz and I are tasked with focusing on sales, marketing, new business, and I take on a hat of HR and offshore. But it is difficult. Like, if you asked me a year ago where every single client was, I could tell you.
Yeah, because you were part of that delivery side.
I was part of that delivery. Now, if you ask me...
Yeah, when you move away from it, in a sense, it's like, well, I don't really know. Like, I need to ask a team member.
Spot on.
I need to ask Sam.
Someone goes, where are things at? My first point of call is, I got to ask Gav. Gav knows where all the clients are. And then same for Sam and Gav when, if, you know, they were out maybe on the weekend and someone said, oh, how's the business going? You're seeing many new clients. Maybe they could have answered that 6 months ago. Now they can just say, I don't know. They might say, I don't know. That's Oz and Shay's department. So this kind of segregation of tasks took a while. It took a while to kind of let go and accept, but I think everyone is maybe now starting to settle into their position a bit more. And like the way I kind of categorize it is when we made this decision to segregate roles, the first 3 months was just confusion. Like everyone was just like, what are you doing? What am I doing? What's going on here?
How do I transition, away? And
will I have
like
work?
That?
Will I have not work? So it's a big shift. Now we're settling into things a bit more. Everyone knows everyone's settled into their job description, but then no one was communicating. So then we set up a whole bunch of meetings that are kind of divisional meetings. And I feel like 6 months on, we've kind of clicked in, and things are starting to work. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it all, Oz?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. You know, there is that time lag for people to settle in. Even though we haven't moved completely away from, delivery, I still do a little bit of, obviously delivery work, and you just need to because you can't step away completely. Moving away has been quite hard, going into a whole new realm for myself personally. So going into, that sales and marketing, something that I'm not traditionally good at or, don't really focus on or haven't focused on in the past, has been, a bit of a change in a learning curve. But I think the whole team in itself, as you said, we've got that sort of click and gel moment happening now, and the meetings have been set for each sort of division. I think it's been great. Meetings are also awesome just to find out what's happening in each division as well, because as you move away and you're segregated from a potential division, you also like to know what's happening in that division as well. So those meetings are times to just highlight, what are the major wins, what are the learning opportunities, what do we need to fix in the future. So it's great having those meetings, and I think there's a little bit more to talk about rather than everyone trying to address one problem, which is what's happening with the website sometimes, why aren't we getting sales? Whereas each person is now focusing on their task, which is I've been working on XYZ in the last month, and this is my report back to the team, and these are the things that I've learned, these are the things that we're going to do in the future.
And I think it just allows, like everyone says focusing is really important, but as a small business owner, jeepers, what the hell do you focus on? A million things. Now, it's allowed our business to have people assigned and to focus and do the deep thinking. So when we sit down and there's a question to be answered, there's probably a subject matter expert for our little business who's been working on that, and everyone kind of now just turns to that person and says, well, what do you think? Because you've probably been thinking about it more than us. I might have an opinion, but now instead of just throwing my opinion around because I want to, I actually go, I haven't even thought about that problem. So
because I'm occupied, I've
got this other problem.
And
you kind of, instead of trying to solve 10 problems at once, we're all trying to solve 2, which means that we're just hopefully going to make better decisions.
Correct. And then it comes back down to obviously accountability as well. Now that people have been sort of segregated into the potential division, it's then you can track accountability a lot easier that way. So that's also been a good win for us as well, because once you start tracking that, it does put a bit of pressure on people, and that is a good thing at times. Pressure,
absolutely.
And that little bit of stress motivates people to achieve that,
to perform. And result. I think this transition that we're on to try and move ourselves into a more well-structured business, you forget areas of business. Like we'd never had someone assigned. We just thought we had a good culture in the office. But now, like Gav, who's probably the most happiest every day, that's just his personality, is assigned to making sure we book in team meetings, making sure people are taking their leave, making sure people are happy, not just here and overseas, so Christmas parties, interview functions.
Or just team lunches,
just in team lunches, or just making sure that people are happy. And you take for granted how much energy and effort it does take to do that well. And now with Gav kind of really focus on it, he has his own way of doing things, which is refreshing as ever. And I think that, and all the other areas of business where you might not focus on splitting up roles, it's the same as when you hire a staff and you give accountability. the same thing you have to do with business partners.
Yeah.
So I found this thing is probably the second thing, and we're still working on it. It's coming to the tail end of that, I hope.
Yeah.
We'll replace it with something else. And finally, the thing that I think we, as general introverts here, really succeed on is, or we focus on is process.
Yeah. That's right.
Process is something that, as lame as it sounds, I'm super passionate about, because if someone asks me, how do you get new business? I'm not the person that's out in the middle of the night having dinners and lunches. That's just not me. Like I said, I'm a traditional introvert.
Yeah.
The way I try and win clients is I provide a fantastic service, a well-structured process, kind of like the McDonald's approach, where everyone that comes in gets the same. And it's a very known quantity that we've been working on.
Yeah, and the process applies to all avenues of the business, right? So, like, as we were talking about, there's different sections and things of that nature. It's just, obviously there's a process for the delivery of work, which is, that McDonald's approach comes in. Now, there's a sales process that we've been working on as well. Yep. So, how they book, and, if it's a website lead, what happens and things like that. So, processes help, I guess, in terms of, sometimes you do feel overwhelmed as a business owner, and there's a lot of things going on. But if you just go back to the process that you created, it's very systematic, and you can just go, okay, we're at stage 1, and let's just progress through it. And then it also helps, I guess, with the team as well. So if you have a process, no matter who picks up that particular job, when it comes to actually delivering the work, is going to run it the same way, because you've said, you start off with task 1, and you'll get to task 100, and you'll run it in that fashion, So, I think, as you said, it's probably in our nature to do that, because we're, more behind the computer and like to break it down into, which is not a bad thing. I think that's a great way to grow a business. You don't have to be either or. And as I mentioned before, there's a point where it's just like, I had to be honest with myself and say, well, I'm not good enough to remember everything in my head. I have to write it down. Because missing one step of the process is not McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't give you a burger and go, I forgot the chicken patty, sorry. Yeah.
It's like, there it is.
Yep.
They never miss a beat, and trying to mimic that in our business is been very hard, because you have to write everything down, and sometimes you go, I don't know the answer, but just starting and then going, well, this is going to change a lot, right? We're still small, we're still making mistakes, we're going to improve that, but we have a super focus.
A bit of a system now, so it's as soon as you have a system, I guess, you can use that as a bit of a reporting mechanism. You look at it, where did it break? And then it's like, well, it broke here, so let's focus on a solution at this particular step. And then you improve, and then it might break somewhere else. And then as the clients change, and you get bigger clients, or different style of clients potentially, you might have to change it in a sense. Or if you start targeting a different demographic of clients, or you want to niche out to, you have to shift that process. So that does apply to most businesses as well. You might try a particular process in one avenue, but you'll have to shift it for another service line, or things like that. So, and
I think what you mentioned, Oz, is really important. When something invariably goes wrong, which it always does, business is business, what used to happen in our business is you might put blame on a person. You might go, geez, I didn't do my job, or that person overseas didn't do my job, or we didn't do my job here. And when you have a process, you often learn that, well, if there was a checklist, it would have stopped that. I don't think many humans that work go out to seek to do mistakes. They don't.
They're always trying your best.
You try your best, right? And then when you realize that if you can enable people to do their best through, in our business, checklists and systems and manuals and processes, then if there is a mistake, then you can address, well, is it because no one ever wrote down that we should be doing this? Or did the person fundamentally miss the problem? And then you can address that issue, not just mixing and going, it's all that person's fault.
That's right.
I always say in business that all the problems should be the problems of the owners of the business, right? You have to have accountability. And when you have a process in place, you can then outline exactly where it broke and fix it, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. But all of these, to finish off on kind of our episode today, is all of these items is to show you out there, if you're listening, that no business is perfect.
We're still working on all these items.
And, Oz and I go through this and it's just like, well, we're working on a lot, but we're very positive that I always say you have to try. Just try and do it. If marketing fails, so be it. I had a crack. I've learned something new. Maybe I can talk to my clients about something better or talk to you guys. Processes, it's never perfect.
Yeah. You'll always need to improve, tweak, look at the feedback that you receive from it.
Yeah.
And constantly enhance. And same as, segregating tasks and positions that will evolve as time goes on as well. As you hire more people, there's more positions and people will shift again. So these things are always evolving. So that's the fun of small business.
That's it. And so thanks for tuning in this episode. Again, this was just kind of an insight into our business to chat about what Oz and I and the team here are working on at Elephant Advisory. If you liked our episode, please subscribe, hit the follow button, whatever medium you're on. Really appreciate you for tuning in. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Bye.